Okay, so now that I have my sketch layer added, I'm actually going to use my tablet and use my paintbrush to start sketching. So I want to make sure I choose the basic brush. It's the paintbrush brush tool B on your keyboard if you want to press the B. Another thing is, so I press the B and I can make my brush bigger or smaller with my brackets. The brackets are next to the P on the keyboard, the left and right bracket. However, this will not work if you have your cap locks on. So make sure your cap locks is off. And then you can use your right bracket and left bracket to make your brush bigger or smaller. Up here at the top, you can also see I can make my brush bigger or smaller here. I can also play with the brush that I'm using. So in general, you'll probably start with a round standard brush. You can change the brushes here. When on most brushes, you can choose whether they have a soft edge, so they're fuzzy, or whether they have a hard edge and they get really solid on the edges. So you can also change this. There's a hard edge brush versus a soft edge brush is very fuzzy. So for this, if your brackets on your keyboard make your brush bigger or smaller, but if you hold shift and then use the brackets, watch up here, my right bracket will make my brush harder. I'm holding down shift and using the brackets, and my left will make it softer. So I'm going to be sketching. I want a hard brush, hard edge, not fuzzy, to do my sketches. And I want my brush to be really tiny. So I'm just going to make my brush like a pencil, right? Like tiny. So I have my brush all set up here. Notice I just did some dots here that I don't want. Now this is on its own layer. I'm on the sketch layer. Everything else is locked. So I don't have to worry about like erasing or moving anything else. I can go to my eraser tool, which is right here, the top tool here. It's E on your keyboard. That's a brush tool as well. You can change the hardness, softness, and size of the eraser. So I'm going to use my right bracket, make it a little bigger, and I can just erase that. I'm going to go back to B or brush and go back to that tool. And now I can start sketching with my tablet and pen. At the top of this, you have many options for the brush. Like you can change the opacity so the strength is really low. I usually leave it at 100%, especially for my sketch. But this is something that I like to press up here. So up here, I have a pressure sensitive button. So make sure you definitely press this. And then you will notice when you draw with your tablet that if you press harder, your lines will get thicker. If you press lighter, your lines will get thinner. So I'm using my tablet pen right now, and they go from thick to thin. So it gives it a more natural effect. Now you can also right here, there's another pressure sensitive that will make it so if you press really light, it gets more transparent. If you press hard, it gets darker as well. So that's kind of your choice if you want to do that. So I'm going to take the eraser tool and see if I make my eraser really big with my right bracket, I can just quickly erase. And then I go back to B on my keyboard. And then I'm going to try to sketch out this, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to sketch it out as best as I can. With this, make sure you're not pressing the buttons on your pen on your tablet, and put your tablet down in front of you, and you're just going to look over, and it looks like I have, my circular one first, so I'm going to go down and sketch. Now, I have a lot easier time sketching from left to right than going this way. So as you sketch, sometimes it's easier to like rotate your page. So here's a rotate page tool, and it's actually R on your keyboard. So if you press R and you need to like move your page, sometimes that's helpful. And a lot of times I'm switching between my mouse pad to do things like this and my, see, I can do that. And then my tablet to draw. So I'm just going like this, and now I can hit rotate the R again, move it again. And it's just easier for me to like draw at certain angles than others. So if you try to do like one circle, it's really hard. So I think the best bet is if you do kind of some sketchy lines, this sketch is going to go away in the end and you'll get better and better at it. Sometimes I do like, just little scratchy lines like this. But you'll get better at it as you go. So little lines, and if you rotate as you go, I think that's really helpful. And then once you're in the rotate view, if you go up to the top, you can reset the view.